us to talk about the Cards tonight. Didn't want that last night, talking about
Yeah.
UK Louisville football, but we are rocking and rolling here. State
Yeah.
of Louisville live.
hmm
We'll get things going.
Hey, everybody. Hello.
All right, let me do some pre-promoting here.
Yeah, just I mean, we're just gonna kind of sit in our poop tonight, pretty much. Sit in our own bag of poop. Um, Not that I'm not encouraged by some of the things I saw in the second half, but that's all great and dandy, you know what I mean? But I just thought just really poor decision making, poor energy out the gate. A lot of other things, a lot of other takes that I have, things that I saw, shortcomings that we can get into.
Yeah,
So,
we're going to get into all of that tonight here on the State of Louisville Live.
yeah,
Following Louisville's loss to Arkansas, an absolute
turd.
clunker from Louisville tonight. The score, I don't think, does justice to the actual result itself. We'll get into
I
it.
agree.
89-80 is the final score. Arkansas walks away victorious. The SEC gets another victory, and unfortunately, the man who will not be named gets the last laugh here.
Kenny
We're going
Payne
to get
won
into.
that game, dude.
He did win
Sucks.
that game. We're going to get into all of that tonight. What am I doing? Here we go. I'm trying to get the overlay going. I got to. This is why the producer's got to get on the show so that I can just focus on doing the show stuff and not having to do the producing also. But that's what
Yeah.
we'll rock and roll, make it work tonight. I'm Jacob Lane. This is Alan Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in to State of Louisville Live post game here following Louisville's 89-80 loss against Arkansas. Louisville's first loss of the season.
hmm
And man, it was a very, very unfortunate game. We're going to break down every bit of the details tonight. But really, just out of the gates, looked a lot like Cincinnati in terms
Did.
of Louisville struggling with physicality, athleticism. A team that had length, they had size, they had shooting, they had certainly perimeter, inside, everything that Cincinnati had. But the difference in this one was that Arkansas was able to withstand those punches back from Louisville. And Louisville certainly tried to claw back into this game in the first half. And really did so in the second half, especially early on, cutting this game down to, I believe, 5 points at one point
Yeah.
late in the game, even in the final couple of minutes, but could not stop the two freshmen in Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. It was a rough
Yeah.
night for them, but for Arkansas, the hero is Trevon Brazile and his 17 first half points. Got crammed on, nearly died, but walks away with the last laugh, 21 points. And man, he was a difference maker in this one. Trying to pull up his
Yeah.
full box score here just to see whatever all he did. 5 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. Trevon Brazile was everywhere. He had 3 or 4 lobs. Louisville had no answer for him. And on the Louisville side, Louisville is led by Mikael Brown Jr. with most of those points coming, I believe, in the second half. I believe he had 14 or 16 in the second half.
hmm
But he finishes this game with 22. Really, Allen, a woeful night from Louisville behind the 3 point line. And honestly, that's kind of where you can start with the shortcoming of this team tonight. This is a team that we've
Yeah.
said all season was going to live and die by the three. And in most games so far, they've certainly lived by the three. And tonight, especially in the first half, could not get anything going. I believe at one point, 2 of 17 from three. They finished the game 8 of 37, 21% with Mikael Brown Jr. taking 13 threes, going 2 of 13 from the 3 point line, reminiscent of Kansas. And then Ryan Conwell,
Yeah.
3 of 12. Ryan Conwell has been automatic this year for Louisville, but tonight has his first real struggles shooting, 5 turnovers to go with that as well. I'll just open it up here, Alan, as we get folks into the show here right after the buzzer sounds. What are your thoughts on just what you saw tonight?
Yeah. I honestly thought that it would be a little bit of a track meet the way it was. I thought the points would end up the way they did in the first half. I was like, well, I'm going to look like a huge idiot because I kind of predicted like, not a runaway for Louisville, but a back and forth. Kind of a little bit of what we saw when it was Darius Acuff, Michael Brown show late in the second half when they were going bucket for bucket. That was actually, as a basketball fan, a lot of fun for me to watch. But I figured it would be a lot of that tonight, back and forth. And I figured Louisville would jump out and match the energy And it sounds like cliche to say that. So I'm going to kind of describe what I mean when I say that. Like a lot of people say, like, well, we just didn't match their energy. That'll be a take tomorrow. I promise you.
Yeah.
People are going to come out and say that. What does that mean though? We know this on the scouting report. Arkansas is a good rebounding team. I thought we couldn't like. There's a thing called jamming the rebounder. Jacob knows this from playing high school basketball at the Story Eastern High School, which is actually pretty good this year, by the way.
Yeah, two 7-footers, man. How about that?
Yeah,
That's
I know.
historical in Louisville Eastern history.
I know they beat somebody the other day, but I think it was South Oldham, something like that. But anyway, they're good. Eastern is good, so you can hang your hat there. But Arkansas is they're one of their prowesses is on the defensive end. On the rebounding end. How do they rebound? How do they carve out space to rebound? Well, they're extremely athletic. They have great center of gravity, and they do it almost by committee. And in the first half, it's really sad. This is a sad story for Sananda Frew because I don't think he played a bad game. I just think he got exposed a little bit for not being as athletic as some of the guys that he was up against tonight. And mind you, there's several NBA players on that team. So when Calipari asks his players to come play for him, this is what a lot of people don't understand. I'm not going to pick on Kentucky fans because we're just going to own this tonight as a loss. But a lot of times when Calipari says he's going to get players, he doesn't just roll the ball out. I know that's like the stigma with him. He just rolls the ball out and go get me points. Now his guys play very physical, and you have to be athletic. You have to be in shape. You have to be well conditioned to do that. And rebounding takes a lot of energy. So if you're going to run back and forth like they do, like Arkansas does, your bigs are going to have to rebound and catch lobs, like a few of them that Brazil caught way above the rim. You have to be in elite shape. So, kind of hats off to, that's how we weren't able to match their energy. I don't think, not that the conditioning wasn't there, but out the gate, what does your first 5-10 minutes of energy look like underneath the glass, away from the ball? Are you just hungry for points? So I think that's how we got punched in the mouth. And I think, like I said, Sananda got exposed in the first half, just getting out rebounded like crazy. In the second half, I think he overcommitted on defense and got lobbed on a few times. So that's how we couldn't match it out the gate.
Yeah, no, I think your analysis is fair there. I will push back a little bit on Sonny. I think he played a pretty damn good game, and at times, honestly, was the only one that was really getting anything going. I think he kept Louisville in there for a little bit in the first half with offensive rebounds and putbacks, and he certainly missed that lob where he had the opportunity to get Louisville some momentum. And he missed a couple of layups. But overall, I mean, when you look at his final stat log, and I know the box score doesn't tell everything, but he goes 7 of 9, 14 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks. And Louisville only had one player tonight that was positive plus minus. Who do you think that was, Alan Thomas?
Was that Adrian Woolley?
It was Adrian Woolley, because Mr. Adrian Woolley is always a positive in the plus minus. But the second closest to that was Sonny Frew at -1 tonight.
Okay.
So that gives you any perspective as to how this team played. It was certainly trying to kind of answer back to what Arkansas was doing, especially when they went, a little bit bigger off the bench with Ewing, who comes in and plays 14 minutes, I believe, 15 minutes, and scores 12 points and truly kind of set the physical tone. And man, he was Florida State's best player last year and was one of the biggest pickups in the portal. And if it tells you anything about how loaded of a team Arkansas is, for him to be coming off the bench, it really just goes to show you, what their team looks like. And they had a guy in Nick Pringle who was on Alabama's squad last year as a starter and fringe bench player. So this is a very, very talented team. I do not think that Acuff Jr. and Malik Thomas are at the level of Eric Bledsoe, John Wall, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, Devin Booker. But John Calipari tonight, I thought, outcoached Pat Kelsey. I thought that overall their game plan was very savvy, and they saw and took advantage of what Cincinnati couldn't do overall in this one. And I think that's why they really put the exclamation point on late, putting the ball in Acuff's hands and allowing him to go to work. But I think overall, really, I don't think that this loss is a huge deal. Now, that's not me.
Right.
It's not me trying to cope. That's not me trying to, look, Louisville got beat tonight. Louisville was not the better team. Arkansas was from start to finish. Arkansas played more physical than Louisville did. They outsmarted Louisville. They took advantage of where Louisville was jumpy. They continued to find Brazil when he was hot. I mean, Arkansas
Mhm.
pressed all the right buttons tonight. But that doesn't mean that Louisville is a bad team. That doesn't mean Louisville's not as good as we thought they were. When you are playing these games in November, December, it's different. Every night is different. And when you got to go on the road and play for the first time in a really challenging environment, it's really tough for a team with as many new players as Louisville has. And with some of the, I don't want to say roster shortfalls, but when you look at Louisville's front court, they had no answer tonight because there is no
Yeah.
one else. I mean, you can't really play Ali Khalifa in a game like this. And you certainly can go small, but even then, Case Pryor still. I mean, that dunk tonight, Case Pryor. I mean, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but the fast break. I mean,
Yeah.
I could jump higher than that. I think. I mean, he barely got
Yeah.
off of. Now that's not him trying to throw the ball down, right? But
Sure.
you could
Yeah.
tell, and the announcers even called it immediately. That's not the same Case Pryor we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And while he did come in and provide a nice spark tonight, it's really tough for Louisville's front court to match up with teams that have size and athleticism that are versatile the way that Arkansas was tonight. And it's
Yeah.
certainly a learning opportunity. And I think that you'll see this again with Duke, North Carolina, a team playing on TV right now, and NC State, Louisville, even, next couple of weeks, Tennessee, Indiana this weekend. Louisville's going to face some front courts with size, with athleticism. And they're going to need to use this film, Alan, to bounce back and get better because you can have a clunker like this early, but you start getting into conference play, even against good teams, you can't lose the way that Louisville lost tonight.
Yeah, and I understand this was like the environment had something to do with it. Like going into Bud Walton, from what I hear, is like it can be deafening. I mean, when they really fill that place up, it's loud, they're nasty. Like that's what you want in a college basketball environment. I just think from an offensive decision making standpoint, we could do better. That doesn't mean like, hey, you guys need to figure it out overall. I just think like there's certain situations, like I noticed the spacing wasn't good.
Yeah.
Um, I think the film room, I would love to be a fly on the wall because I'm an absolute fucking nerd about like what did the coach see? What did Coach Carr see? What like any coach that pointed something out? Hey, I noticed this. What did Frank Anselmibe? Anybody that's Peyton Siva? Anybody that was watching it? What are the little things that they could pick at? Like, hey, I noticed this a couple times because I know they're a very vocal staff.
Yeah.
What's going to show up
Yeah.
on that film? Because at the end of the day, you go. I mean, like you said, you go to Gamebridge here in a few days.
Yeah.
That Indiana team is going to want to run with you too.
And Alan, that's going to be an environment that's not in favor for
Yeah,
Louisville. I mean, you got
yeah,
Indiana playing in the ACC championship at Lucas Oil down the street just a few hours later. That's going to be a pro Indiana crowd, very heavy Indiana crowd this weekend.
yeah. They're going to be amped up. And I saw somebody, I think it was Grossman, Jack Grossman, was
Yeah.
talking about how he's like, you've never seen Indy just so pumped up about all of it. Like we're talking doubleheader status for these games. Indiana fans are going to be on cloud nine, if they win both. So,
Yeah.
but that aside, I think at the end of the day, in the second half, we started to see like some composure. There was a play in particular where we let the defense break down, and then you see Frew roll into the basket for that. I think it was a dunk or just an easy one, And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what Pat
Right.
Kelsey basketball right there, Like that's what I want to see. And then just a few minutes later, and honestly, yeah, like in the final minute, I'm like, we're down 9. I know there's not a shot, but those 2 ill-advised threes or these 2 or 3 ill-advised threes really piss me off now. And like I saw a lot of bad shots out there. I know guys are trying to feel themselves, trying to get in the rhythm, trying to keep with
Right.
the pace. We wanted to play
Right.
fast, but and again, it just wasn't our night. And there were guys that it was their night when usually it's not. Like Brazil, I think he shoots like 25% from 3. He had
Yeah.
3 or 4 threes tonight. So
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's some nights where you got it, and there's other nights where you don't. Like tonight, your lights certainly don't have it. You're in the dark tonight. I mean,
yeah,
your lights are Louisville esque this evening. We got Alan and the anonymous program over here becoming a dark
yeah.
silhouette. He's going to eventually talk like this for the rest of the
Yeah,
episode.
exactly.
Yeah, but when you look at this one again at the box score, it doesn't even tell the full story. Both teams shot 40%, roughly 42% from Arkansas, 41% from Louisville. Big discrepancy in free throws. Arkansas shoots 35 free throws tonight, goes 27 of 35 from the line. Louisville only gets 18 free throws.
Yeah,
Both teams turn the ball over pretty much consistently, 9 and 10 times respectively for Louisville and Arkansas, but Arkansas takes advantage of those turnovers and scores 14 points. That is the difference in this game here. It was sloppy from Louisville, and one of the things that I can tell pretty quickly when I keep wanting to call him Malik, when Mikael Brown Jr. is flustered, loves his jump passes, loves to get up in the air and then look cross
yeah,
court to try to throw a
I know.
ball to nobody
Yep.
paying attention. You
Yeah.
can tell when he's flustered, and he certainly responded in the second half. Watching him and Acuff go back and forth, I mean that's fun, man. Like that's the freshman ball we have not had ever. Like we've never been able to sit at that table with guys that good that early in their careers. Tonight to watch that was a lot of fun. But also when you look at his performance, man, he tried to be Superman. 2 of 13 from the field or from the 3-point land, 7 of 19 from the field. He certainly hit some tough shots. Goes to the free throw line, shoots 60%. But again, he has 2 turnovers, only 3 assists. They only had 13 assists tonight on 29 made field goals. It was a lot of one-on-one, a lot of putbacks, a lot of just getting a bucket where you can find it. And when you rely on the three as much as this team does, even when you saw they were moving the ball, they were getting guys open. But
Yeah.
as soon as they found shots and missed them, Arkansas figured it out pretty quickly and started to recover and get hands up and make life difficult for Louisville in a way that nobody this year. Here we go. We got the spotlight back, ladies and gentlemen, going
Gosh, dude,
from
what the heck?
anonymous to now being the criminal
Yeah.
being caught on the run.
No kidding. And they got me. You got me. Breaking Bad. You ever seen Breaking Bad, dude? And God bless my wife. She got me this little camera holder, so because you would laugh if I told you how I stacked my phone up to do these. But she got me this little camera holder, which is awesome. It has this little light, but I think my phone camera was like after a while was like adjusting to the dimness of it. And it was going dimmer and dimmer, and I was like, damn, I can't use it. I'm gonna have to break it to her tomorrow. She's asleep. God love her. But I'm gonna go back to your Michael Brown point because like I think like you're spot on, and I have a couple takes with this. One is that's just youth, but also like basketball IQ. Like we always brag about his, but that one where it was kind of late in the game, we could have used a bucket though, but he drove himself to the baseline. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. Like yeah, people can shit on Kenny, you can shit on Cal and say they just roll the ball out, but they are taught to pounce and cut off passing lanes when you do that. Doesn't matter who it is. And
Yeah.
I want to say Acuff was the one. It's either Acuff or it could have been Carter Knox or somebody. Just like he jumped right in the passing lane, stole it, and that was one that I was like, that was the dagger for me. Like, now it wasn't a bucket, but it was like that possession right there. I was like, that was the
Yeah.
one that we needed. I think he was hungry. I would have been fine with even like a little step back, like baseline jumper. I'm like, you got the green light, kid. But like the
Yeah.
other side of that is, and I said this in the moment when him and Acuff were going back and forth. I was like, yeah, this is kind of one of those things where some of these veterans that were here last year and some of the veterans coming in to be superstars, not superstars, but just like first team all conference, like
Yeah.
Conwell, they're going to have to, this is a part where you have to sit back and watch a 19-year-old cook. And it's like, how do you, like in the NCAA tournament, us fans are going to be like, I'm going to remember this game, not for the bad, actually. I'm going to remember in the NCAA tournament, I'm going to
Right.
remember when I need a bucket, I can rely on Michael Brown. I watched him do it against a bunch of guys that are going to play pro like next year, a few guys that are going to get drafted next year. So
Yeah.
how does this team respond in another situation similar where it's like you're going to have to sit back and watch them, Michael Brown cook some more? I think it's a tough sell unless you're a tight knit group, and I really hope that we are. I think we are.
Yeah. I think
But
we are too.
yeah, yeah,
I think they'll bounce back from this. I think you'll see Saturday Louisville kind of get back into the form of what they were in games that weren't this one.
yeah,
I think what we saw against the NJITs and the Eastern Michigans was, it's great to see them dominate teams like that, but it's not realistic as to what you're going to see against better opponents. And I think tonight,
yeah,
Louisville ran up against a really good Arkansas team coming off of a tough loss to Duke. And Arkansas sitting at 5-2, wanted this game more than Louisville did at 7-0. I mean, that there's just no way other than that to look at it. They out rebound Louisville by 10. They have 6 more offensive rebounds than Louisville does. They really, one thing that's just really notable in this game, Alan, is the bench points. Arkansas has 3 guys that play off the bench in this one. And they go for 39 points from Arkansas.
Wow, yeah. How
And
about
then you
that?
look at Louisville, who plays, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 guys off the bench, and Louisville has 11
Yeah,
bench points. They essentially get nothing from Khalifa outside of a couple of assists. Don't get anything out of Kobe Rogers tonight. You get a couple of buckets from Case and Pryor, but again, you see that he is just not there. Kenai Ruth continues to really struggle to find what his role is on this team
yeah,
after Javon Hadley came back from injury in game 2 to game 3. We have not seen Kenai Ruth really look at all like the guy that we saw the first 2 games.
yeah,
And so tonight, when you have all of those things, when you shoot as poorly as you do, 8 of 37 from the 3-point line, when you have Mikael Brown Jr. and Ryan Conwell both struggled the way that they did, where they go 5 of 25 combined from 3, you're going to probably lose those games most nights if other guys don't step up. And I think that tonight, when you look at what did Arkansas do to really take advantage of this game, in a game where their starters, 3 of their starters combined for 12 points, they just go and get 37 off the bench. And
yeah,
that's the difference. And that is a tough pill to swallow for Louisville. But it's certainly not the end of the world. It gives you some film and some things to learn from and to bounce back from. But in a game where the matchups are made in this challenge for storylines, for entertainment purposes, to try to drive viewership when football is still very active and the topic of conversation, I think that the folks that put this together, they win tonight. They win. The SEC ACC Challenge wins tonight because of the storyline here. John Calipari getting a win, continuing to have Louisville's number. And then, of course, the elephant in the room, besides the fact he didn't do shit. He literally didn't do shit. I don't think I saw him stand up one time. Didn't wear a tie. I also noticed that. Lazy MFer. Like, come on, man. If you're going to wear a suit, wear a tie. What are you doing? All the whole Arkansas staff, no ties tonight, but wearing suits. But he didn't do shit, but he gets to laugh, and he gets to walk out. And I haven't seen, I sure hope John didn't do what John would
I,
do, which is to send Kenny into the media
he
and let him
will.
have his moment. I haven't seen if that's happened yet, but if that's the case, excuse my language, but fuck him and fuck them for that because it's bullshit. But you lose, and that's the result. You don't get to have the last laugh. Kenny Payne does, and Arkansas does, and that's the case tonight, 89-80. If you're just tuning into the show, we're 22 minutes in. Thank you for jumping in here to the State of Louisville Live, presented by Surfside and our newest sponsor. Can't thank them enough. Main event
Right.
over here on the east end of town. We'll be out there for several games this year. The first one being in a couple of weeks later this month. So stay tuned for more on that. But we thank you to Surfside, our partners in Main Event, for sponsoring the show here, allowing us to do some post-game coverage. We want to hear from you. Jump in over on the YouTube side of things. If you're watching on Twitter, you can't comment, you can't get involved in the show without just tweeting us. So jump over to YouTube. We want to hear from you, even if you are this guy. Let's throw this in here because I'm not going to say it. You're not going to get the justice of me saying it, but damn it, John Calipari's got Louisville's number, Alan. It's very unfortunate, but there is something
Yeah.
that just he gets the juice playing Louisville, man. He just does.
Yeah. And now we're getting into the segment of the show that I really wanted to get to because this is the part at the beginning we were talking about sitting in the loss and just sitting in it. All right, let's get to the nitty gritty. This is the part that I really wanted to get to because it's an enigma. I've never seen anything like it. It's whether it's Rick Pitino, whether it was Chris Payne, even though Payne got him in the COVID year, I believe, whether it was Kenny, whatever. Whether it was Pat Kelsey, you know what I mean? Like tonight, just like 20 minutes ago, for whatever. It was so reminiscent of the Kentucky losses with Rick Pitino, with the other guys, where you had the Calipari team jump out front. Louisville can't get a shot off to save our life. They come down. They're playing the best defense of their lives. I mean, this team struggled with Sanford. Am I getting that right? Didn't they just struggle with like a mid-major team, underperforming team?
Yeah, and
So it's
it's
like,
pretty common at this point in the
yeah.
season, for teams to do that when especially when you have as many new pieces as and young players like Arkansas has, for sure.
And what else is funny is like you have teams, and again, like I'm really trying. I'm not trying to make this about Kentucky or to rivalry right now because like I'm gonna hear it on Twitter. You guys can have it. Like, you know what? This is yours. This is your night. You guys earned it from all the shit talking we've had and the wins that we've had against their programs. But last night, the UK UNC game, like there was a big night. There's a lot of juice in the building, and UK kind of fell apart. Like I kind of thought that I literally my gut before the game was like, it's a big night. There's a lot of pressure on that side of the ball. I think it's a new day, new age, right? That's the kind of
Yeah.
vibe I was getting, and same old story. I think that's going to be a big storyline too. But again, just out physicaled by a Calipari team. I don't get it, but that's why he's one of the greats.
Yeah, he gets his guys ready to play, finds a way to push the right buttons at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think tonight you saw his team ready. They came out again. I hate to keep referencing this, but much like Cincinnati, ready to play physical, ready to blitz Louisville on the pick and roll, ready to make life hell for Sonny Frew, making Ryan Conwell and Mikael Brown Jr. take bad shots. They lived for that, and as soon as
Mm-hmm.
Louisville played right into it, they just kept going and going and finding exactly how to take advantage of this Louisville team in a way again that nobody has this year. And I think that when you look at Brazil, a guy who is what 6'9", probably 215, 220 pounds on a good day,
Dog.
was able to
Mm-hmm.
consistently find his way into the rim, whether it be for an offensive rebound or an alley oop or whatever the case was. And then also, read the defense in a way when guys over rotated, he could step out and hit a three. We saw tonight that a guy like Sonny Fur, as well as he played offensively, defensively, not quite physical enough to play on the floor and to challenge Brazil and to challenge Malik Ewing and even with like Billy Richmond and not so much Carter Knox, but more so Acuff Jr. and Malik Thomas. They took
Mm-hmm.
advantage of whoever was in front of them, whether it was Mikael Brown, whether it was Javon Hadley, whether it was whoever it
Yeah.
was. They made Louisville pay tonight. And typically, out of the 11, 12-man roster that Louisville plays, somebody steps up, somebody makes outside of the big guys, and most of the time it is the big guys, but somebody steps up and makes a play. And Allen tonight, nobody did. Nobody was there. They took bad shots. I mean, the shot chart. If you're interested, go to ESPN and look at the box score. The box score will tell you, the shot chart will tell you everything you need to know about how Louisville wanted to try to attack this game, which was to settle for bad threes. And
Yeah.
I think that again, you can coach and fix a lot of that. So it is not the end of the world, but I do think now, in some regard, Alan, that the film is out there on how to play Louisville. I mean, I think
Yeah.
this weekend you're going to see Indiana's got some dudes athletically and some defensive guys. They're going to come out and blitz pick and rolls, physically match pound for pound Mikael Brown Jr., try to overpower him, and then force Louisville into really bad 3-point shots.
That was another thing. The blitzing, the picks, and everything. Like a lot of the fun things and creative things we like to do on offense are based in the pick and roll or pick and pop or Ali Khalifa just being able to like he has that panoramic view that he does where he was successful a couple times, no shade at all. But when he's out there on an island, like you're in trouble because I mean nobody's running to the ball in that situation. You are essentially the point guard in that situation when he's high with the ball. But
Yeah.
I think like to your point, like one of the more troubling things tonight was on inbounds. This is something that Pat Kelsey is like his calling card. But yeah, like you said, like in the Cincinnati game, we couldn't really get separation, a lot of jersey tugging and stuff like that. 100% Arkansas does that anyway, but I think that was definitely in the scouting report. Like, when they run through here, so when you're in no man's land and you're cutting or you're trying to get open or you're trying to separate yourself, you're gonna have to do a little bit of a push off. Like getting open is not all about like, oh, juke, 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 I'm open. Like there's physicality involved in that. And so if you go to the tape, if you're Calipari, whoever is looking at that, like here's how we're gonna muddy the game up. 100%. That's how you do it. Is just get in the way. There was a few times where I was surprised we didn't get a 5-second call, or that we threw it. after about 4 seconds, we did throw it away or threw it ill-advised and it got tapped or something like that. It's just because like we're getting in the way of, our free flowing, or they're getting in the way of our free flowing, objectives on offense.
Yeah.
There's a couple times out of a timeout that Pat Kelsey is famous for. We weren't able to get anything going. In fact, there was one in particular. I'm gonna go back and watch it, but I want to say it was Acuff that had to steal and almost went coast to coast with it. Just little things that. So when you're doing that, when you're coaching and you go to the timeout, you draw it up, and that happens, and you're seeing, they're going to say the same thing you did. We're seeing the same, muddiness. How do we avoid this that Cincinnati did, like out the gate, the same kind of game plan out the gate. So like, yeah, I mean, that's frustrating when you go and draw that up for a minute and a half or whatever, and it blows up. You never even get
Right.
the guy to touch the ball. So just brilliant game plan, honestly, by Cal. I mean, you say this every couple of years. I'm hating that we have to say it again.
Right.
Brutal, Jacob.
Yeah, it doesn't feel fair that he's gone and we're still having to have these same conversations. But again, that's why kudos to the people that actually scheduled this tournament and found a way to make it interesting. And on December 3rd, when everyone is talking about every other sport, couple of comments here in the stream on YouTube. Jump over there. This is kind of the same sentiment that we mentioned before from Andrew Booth. He says Khalifa, let me put that back up here. Sorry. Khalifa is a liability against that amount of athleticism. And that's exactly right. I mean, you saw it tonight. His minutes were not what they have been in other games. And what was his minute count tonight? Let's see here. He played 8 minutes tonight off the bench. You had 13 for Woolley. I mean, Pat Kelsey was really starter heavy tonight. 13 from Woolley, 9 from Ruths, 8 from Khalifa, 9 from Rogers, and 5 from Pryor. Really played his starters throughout the entirety, and a lot of that was because if you look at each one of the guys on the bench outside of Woolley, they just weren't really providing much of anything, and that's very rare to say about Kobe Rogers and Kenai Ruths, but that's what we saw tonight. And again, that was the difference in this one. If one or two of those guys has a decent game and steps up and scores 6 points, this is a completely different ball game. But they didn't, and that forced Louisville starters, particularly Brown and Conwell, late to try to carry this team, and they almost did. I mean, they gave them everything they had. They got it down within 5, but they could not stop Acuff late in this game. And they hit their free throws, and that's something that teams that we've certainly seen Louisville struggle with that this year, but that's how teams put games away, is they hit their free throws late, and that's exactly what Arkansas did. Just running back through the stat sheet here real quick. Let me pull the split box score back up. As I mentioned before, Louisville goes 8 of 37 from the 3-point line, which is 22%. Arkansas 33% from 3 at 6 of 18. Louisville turned the ball over 9 times to Arkansas's 10, but Arkansas turned those 9 turnovers into 14 points. Louisville was out rebounded by 10 rebounds. They were out offensive rebounded 18-12. They gave up a shit ton of second chance points, 27. I would be willing to guess that is a season high for Louisville this year. 27 second chance points to 9 for Louisville, and then the 39 bench points to 11. Louisville, oddly enough, this is kind of funny anecdotally, but Louisville outscores Arkansas in the paint. That doesn't feel like that's a right stat. That doesn't seem right. That seems like a complete opposite of how this game went. But
it's like, go ahead. I was going to say a lot of those came from the free throw line. Like they got shots up, and then they so it felt like paint points.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. But really in every major category, I mean, Arkansas, I believe, led this game. 39 minutes and 30 seconds is the lead time in this one. Just truly put their foot on the pedal and did so with Carter Knox, 9 points. 5 points. DJ Wagner, 5 points. Nick Pringle, 2 points. Their scoring came from Trevon Brazile, 17 in the first half. 17 from Darius Acuff Jr., 17 off the bench from Malik Thomas, 12 from Malik Ewan, and then Billy Richmond III, bringing back the long T-shirt undershirt. How about that? Him and Darius Acuff, nice. Very interesting undershirt selections. Darius Acuff Jr. looked like Tyronn Lue tonight, wearing the cut-off short sleeve T-shirt with the braids, bringing the early 2000s back to college basketball. But nonetheless, they won this game, and it's very unfortunate. But like we said, it's still early in the season, and there is still a lot to bounce back. There's still a lot of time to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We got another one here from Daniel, who was trying to get us to make comments about our fathers. Mikal, let me put that back up here again. Mikal was the best player on the floor after the slow start. Agreed. And that dunk, the same Daniel mentioned this earlier in the comments, but that dunk was the wake up call for Louisville. Now, they didn't finish the first half the way I would have liked to, getting this game to 10-8, but that dunk really kept this from becoming a 20-point game, in my opinion, because that was holy shit. He just
Yeah.
nearly took that man's life.
Yeah.
And that is going to be at Sports Center top 10, but it's going to be the highlight of a game in which you lost. So great dunk. Love it. It sucks that Brazil got hurt, came back. But damn, Mikal Brown Jr. just continues to do things like that, like throwing down, punching the ball in somebody's head off of a 2-foot jump that I don't know I've ever seen. That's a T-Will freshman year type of dunk. Like, I don't think I've seen that since T-Will.
Yeah, it's his left hand too. Every
Yeah, man.
major dunk highlight that we see is in his left hand, and it's kind of like one of those things. If you ever shoot around like basketball and you line up a left-handed shot, it's not like shooting left-handed, it's effortless, but there's no technique with it. A lot of times guys, like everybody has their stroke, right? And you line it up. If you're right-handed, I'm going to talk for right-handed people. If you line up the left hand, which Michael is, you line up the left hand, it's usually just a lineup, and you'll shoot it one-handed because it's such a mechanical thing. And I think like he has done that so many times that it's a habitual mechanical thing for him to bring. I almost want to say he might have more reach with his left or something. It's like it's a more beautiful arc on his dunk, even so, because he did it in France. He almost killed somebody else, figuratively speaking, with one. And Malachi Moreno in the practice over there, like that famous video, was left-handed. So it's just one of those like. I mean, yeah, it's 100% going to be on top tens. It'll be one of the top plays. But it's like Chris Hatfield tweeted, famously right after, he was like, "Chris, that dunk was Chris Paul cutting the lead to 42 or whatever."
Yeah, right, right. I saw that,
and I'm like, I was like, that's perfect, yeah, because like you're like, yeah, and then look at the score, and it's like, oh, we're down by 17.
Yeah, I was trying to pull the play-by-play back up. That's how I follow basketball games, is play-by-play. Like, I mean, I'm an absolute nerd, but that dunk came after, I believe Arkansas had been on a 9-0 run, 12-0 run. I'm trying to go back and see here. Let's see. You had 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. They were on a 10-0 run at that point. The game is really getting out of hand. It's 41 to 41 to 22. I mean, and then Mikal comes down, absolutely posterizes Trevon Brazile. And Trevon Brazile, man, like, kudos to him, did not make a business decision. He came from the weak side of the court, was like, I'm going to help my guys, and then got put on a poster, and I thought he was done. Like, I thought he broke his foot. Like, the way he pulled up immediately and fell, but I think he was just embarrassed. I mean, I probably would have done the same shit, man. Like, I got to go to the locker room and just wait this one out. I'll come back after everything's good.
Yeah, the reason I missed that one is because in midair, my ankle snapped. I don't know if you guys saw that, but while I jumped, my ankle, the twist in the air, snapped it, and that's why I couldn't block it, because it hurt so bad.
Right.
I had to bring my end down.
I had it. I would have had it otherwise. I would have had it.
I know. My stepson does. I mean, he's in the other room, probably asleep, but maybe watch TV or something. But he has done that in the past, like in basketball games, and like it's everything in me from the sidelines, and I'll be like, get the up, like in the middle of like scream in the gym, but I'm just like, I just kind of get my head down, like, okay, he just needs to feel the embarrassment. So just understand that when you get up, everybody's gonna be like, he's faking it, so just like get posterized and then keep playing. Like, that's the mentality. So I'm not mad at Brazile. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, but it sure looked like, I mean, you went back to the locker room and then came back and then a few minutes later you're 3 feet above the rim catching that that lob towards the end.
Right.
I'm like, oh, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. We got some post-game comments coming in here from John Calipari, Sam Lance, S. Lance Hoops. Looks like he is a writer for the Field of 68 in the press game post-conference. Says, John Calipari said there were no extra emotions playing against Louisville. Quote, Louisville is fine with me. Kelsey's got it going on now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you buying that?
I mean, how much am I buying that it was there extra emotion?
No, sorry. How much are you buying that's not true? Sorry, I should have rephrased that question. How much do you think he's lying? is I guess the way I'm trying to ask that question.
I think he's 100% lying about there not
Yeah.
being any extra juice.
Yes. That's what I'm getting
100%.
at. Yeah.
Because Kenny's his longtime friend at this point. So
Right.
I kept thinking, like, watching him and Kenny towards the end. It was one of those things. There was some call. I forget what it was. Oh, it was the foul on Michael. Like when he went up for the three, it was like the swipe down. It was towards the end, and Cal got so mad he went to the ref with his arms out, like, oh, like that. And when they panned past it, I saw Kenny sitting there, like, like he always does. And I
Yep.
just thought to myself, like, God, this is all theater for him now, because at it was post game of, I think, our last meeting with Kentucky when Kenny was here. Remember that little talk they had, the face to face, and everybody's trying to lip read. And I think somebody was like, pretty sure he said, "Hey, if anything happens, somebody will give you a call," or something to the effect of, like, somebody's going to give you a call. And I couldn't help but think, like they had this one circled 3 or 4 times on their calendar, even though
Yeah.
nobody with the program had anything to do with that. Nobody even, most of them probably don't even know Kenny Payne. You know what I mean? Never even had contact with him.
Correct.
I know for a
Correct.
fact. Now, I also know that I have never seen Kenny get fired up or say anything out of, like, like out of his neck about an opponent. So, like, I want to say Kenny's probably a pretty centered dude, and people get way more upset about Kenny than he does about anybody else. But I don't see Calipari that way, and I think Calipari probably took this one personal, and
Yeah.
like he probably does every time, and that's why it works,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, this is one of those comments to me that, like, the cool kid never cares about anything, and it's just always, nah, I'm just cool. Like, that's what this is to me. Like, he, of course, he's not going to say this game mattered to him, but whether it's for Kenny
Yeah.
Payne, I'm sure. I don't want to say I'm sure, but I wouldn't be shocked if here in 5 minutes I refresh Twitter one more time and we get a video of the locker room of Arkansas dumping water on Kenny Payne and they're celebrating for him like he did something.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, he didn't do
Sure.
shit. I promise you that he didn't do shit.
Sure.
He probably told him to fight a couple of times, and that's about the extent of it. Sat there and got himself a paycheck for just sitting with his. God, I can't even stand the way the man sits. But
Yeah.
there's just this level of confidence that John Calipari has when it comes to Louisville, and they could lose to Winthrop or they can beat them by 1 point, and then the game after that they can struggle
Mm-hmm.
against Sanford. But you best believe that Louisville is going to get their best because it's just a different game for John Calipari, and there's just just as much as there was head games with Patino, there's a confidence that comes from John Calipari that only Louisville gives him at this point. And you saw it tonight. He mentioned that they don't win this game without Malik Ewing. As again, he comes off the bench for Florida State, excuse me, for Arkansas, former member of the Florida
Mm-hmm.
State Seminoles. He goes 3 of 4 from the field and scores 12 points. He has 7 offensive rebounds, 9 rebounds altogether. He is a +4, one of the highest rated players on the court for Arkansas. And
Mm-hmm.
it just shows you everything that you need to know about this one in terms of where Louisville was. Okay, back to the comments here. We got another comment from Go Cards 2013. Great year. Good fight in the second half. Go Cards. Yeah, you got to be encouraged. I mentioned it before, Alan. Louisville goes into this game at halftime and they're down nearly 20 points. I believe it was, 16, 15, something like that at half. Trying to pull it back up here. Let's
18.
see here.
47-29.
47 to 29 after Mikael Brown hits those free throws with a couple seconds left. But Louisville comes back out in the second half and they go on a run themselves. I believe at one point Louisville had scored, 20 something points in the second quarter or in the second half, and Arkansas at that point had only scored maybe 6 or 8. So Louisville got out and was able to build momentum. But again, every time that Louisville made a 3 or got an and one, went to the
Yeah.
free throw line, you saw A. Cuff Jr., you saw, Malik Ewing get a rebound and a putback and go to the free throw line or draw a foul and go to the free throw line. You saw them just continually make the play that they needed to keep Louisville at bay.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, I think, I mean, like, if this was like a boxing match or whatever, I think Louisville, honestly, like, it really felt like an early knockout kind of thing where you just kind of
Yeah.
got rattled with a bunch of punches. They hit you in the ribs a few times. You're sore for the rest of the fight. So, like, but yeah, that down the stretch, the one encouraging thing for me, like, down the stretch, is knowing that we can rely on Michael Brown to go get us a bucket. The problem is they had, like we said before, like they have 3 or 4 pros that could answer. So, like, yeah, I mean, trading buckets. I think matching the energy in the second half was great to see. But
Yeah.
I think the one thing, the one takeaway that I keep coming away with, and I said this to my stepson watching it, and he wasn't hating, like he's a Kentucky fan, he wasn't hating at all. But I was like, I said it out loud and it just kind of like blurped out while I was watching. And it was late in the second half. We were making a run, and then we kept getting, it's like trading buckets. They pushed it out to 10 again. And I said, I don't see a national champion right now. Right
Yeah.
now, I don't. You
Yeah.
know, like I like, and that's no shade. Like you guys can't do it. Like hang it up, and hope nobody clips this up. Nobody ever clips up what I say. It's always us doing it. But I hope nobody clips it up and says like, oh, Alan said that you wouldn't whatever if we're down in the Final Four in April or whatever. Like I hope nobody does that. But like I'm just saying tonight, like I saw like the resilience of a team that can go deep. But like if the goal, not saying like the bar, like hey, it's this or bust, but like if the goal is to compete for a national title. I just didn't see that prowess on display
Yeah.
tonight. And
Yeah.
I just saw us got out toughed,
Yeah.
throughout the game.
Yeah. And again, not to continue to beat a dead horse here, but when you look at the box score and you look at Arkansas, who has, 2 starters in double figures with 21 and 17, then they come off the
Mm-hmm.
bench with 3 guys that combined for 39 points, excuse me. That is the difference. And for Louisville, all year long, we've really pat Kelsey on the back and this team on the back for being deep, for being athletic, versatile, for being able to throw multiple lineups at you, to be able to go small and go big. Well, tonight they couldn't do any of it because it didn't matter what they did. Arkansas just outplayed them, and every card that Pat could play, John had
Yeah.
a response for. And that's where your point of not being national championship good tonight, not tomorrow, not next Saturday against Indiana, not the following Saturday against Memphis, not Tennessee. We're just saying tonight. That's the
Mm-hmm.
difference is that Louisville's bench, their depth, you didn't get anything really out of anyone outside of your starting lineup and really outside of your big two, really. I mean, Frew, of course, had the double digits with 11 or with 14. McNeely had 11, but neither one of them really at any point commanded the game or really had any control over the game. It was just that's where the points came from. And I think moving forward for Louisville to get into top 5, top 10 team in the country, which I still think they are. I saw a comment in here before that Louisville's not top 5. I disagree. I don't think that tonight is going to change my mind on that. It's one game on the road, the first time on the road against a really good basketball team. I
In
think Louisville's still
Fayetteville.
as good as
Yeah.
in Fayetteville, with a lot for Arkansas to play for at 5-2, falling out of the top
Mm-hmm.
25, all those things, right? But I think that if you're
Mm-hmm.
Louisville, you've got to get back in the lab. And just as much as you got to improve your 3-point shooting and practice your rebounding and all that, you need to get Kenai Ruths, you need to get Cason Pryor, you need to get Javon Hadley, you need to get Kobe Rogers back in the right place because against Indiana and against Tennessee and against Duke and against Virginia and against some of the other teams in the ACC, and certainly when you get to March, you're going to need your full team and you're going to need that depth to be your strength, not a weakness. And tonight it was a weakness. It really was. You couldn't play a lot of guys tonight because they just weren't in it. Kobe Rogers, Ali Khalifa, Kenai Ruth, you just couldn't play him a lot of minutes because they just didn't have it tonight. And that's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
But you certainly got to bounce back, especially ahead of a big time matchup on a neutral court again this weekend in Indianapolis against a top 20 Indiana team that,
You think it'll be like
I'm not.
60-40 in Cambridge?
Oh, man, I'd say it'd be 70-30 if you want me to be honest. I think that
70-30
Indiana just
Indiana?
has.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that Indiana's already there. All their fans are already there, and we're anticipating being in the ACC, or excuse me, the Big Ten championship. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I haven't seen a lot of any U of L fans really talk about being at this game or going to this game. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
Cincinnati it felt like the game that Louisville fans made a priority on their trip list for this year.
Yeah. One of the things about this game is it falls on a weird weekend. Oh, it does for me, and I know a lot of people do this too. But like my big family, the big family, gets together this weekend on that day. It's going to be tricky to maneuver the pregame, postgame thing that we're doing on here, but like we're going to make it work, obviously. But like I think a lot of people have like Like my work party is next Saturday or Friday or Saturday, one of the two.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are like, doing their out of town thing now with extended family. Like I'm not sitting here making excuses, right? I'm not trying to do
Mm-hmm.
that. But I know that might play in, that play a factor. But I will say one
Yeah.
thing about this game is, do you know the Bart Tovik metrics? Do you ever look at
Yeah.
that? It's Bart Tovik, and he
Yeah.
predicts like what your record's going to be, who you're going to beat, who your losses are going to be. So I looked at it preseason. I looked at it again this week just to remind myself. But he had Arkansas as our first loss. Um, he had
Yeah.
us, but just a few notable games I'm going to put out here because I'm saying it now because he was right about Arkansas, and I thought we would beat Arkansas. I thought we would struggle with Indiana. That's where I had our first like iffy one. But he has us beating Indiana, losing to Tennessee, beating Duke at home, losing to Duke on the road, ended up with like 24-7 and a 2 seed. That's what he
Yeah.
had us. So
It's not
it's one of
bad.
those things like I don't read into any of that shit anymore after last year. I don't read into Kim Palm. I don't go and say, oh, Louisville's this and the Lenardi's got us here. I don't look at any of that shit anymore after last year. That's all smoke and mirrors to me. But when I see
Yeah.
a metric like that predict the first loss preseason, he only had a few points. It wasn't up to 9, but I think he had it like 83-80 or something like that. The final score is 89-80. Like that's pretty close. So I'm not going to sit here and call this guy a genius, but or whoever it is, I think his name might be Bart Tovik. But to call it like that, 24-7 with 7 losses, and it was a win at Baylor too, sitting at probably second in the ACC at the end of the year, maybe winning it, whatever, a 2 seed. Obviously, all of us would take that. So like
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to sit here and like, like do snow angels in the poop tonight. Like I'm not like
Mm-hmm.
beside myself, like depressed. But I will say, like some of the things I saw tonight, we can build from. Some of it is like if you run into a team that's stacked athletically,
Yeah.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
and Arkansas is going to lose to some weird people. But come March, dude, like he always says, we're going to be ready for March and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, he's
Yeah.
not going to say it this year. He might not say it, but he always has them ready. And it
Yeah.
felt like they were in March Calipari form tonight.
Which means that they'll be in November, December form come first weekend of the tournament. You can bet your ass on that one right there.
Yeah, right.
Put the
No
Sharpie on that
kidding.
one. So we'll go ahead. We'll start putting a bow on the show at the 52-minute mark tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I was just looking on Twitter, and
Yeah,
both of us love this fan base so dearly. And each one of these
yeah,
sickos across the Card Nation is brother and sister to us. And um,
yes,
I firmly believe that the media scene here, as competitive as it is, and as many shows and as many things as there is nothing that warms my heart than seeing several thousand Louisville fans right now in our show, Power 10. Marcus Maben was just doing a show. Like, just love to see all these different shows and all these people tuning in and watching this content, man. Because
yeah,
again, like, as competitive as we are here, I love to see all these opportunities for other media platforms and for folks to have the opportunity to do things that historically have been with traditional media. So as an advertising
yeah.
guy, I just have to say I absolutely love to see that the rise of digital media is happening here in Louisville, and there's no better example of it. After Louisville loses in a basketball game in the middle of December, you have thousands of fans flocking to Twitter to watch content. So shout out to you all. It was
Yeah,
a rough night.
yeah.
Hate to see it, but Louisville falls to Arkansas 89-80 on the road in Fayetteville in the ACC and SEC Challenge. You would have loved to have seen
Kenny
Louisville
Payne
bounce
won that
back.
game. Damn it,
Look at that
he won the
shirt. My
fucking
shirt
game.
has been in the trash can
Yeah,
for quite some time for reasons I
was it?
mentioned earlier. I
I'm
can't
keeping it,
stand.
dude. I had to. I had to pull this out of my time capsule. I'm no shit,
Yeah,
not shitting you. It smells like dust, and I had to
yeah.
throw it in the dryer because it was wrinkled. But I wanted to keep it
Oh yeah,
because it was like
yeah,
our best seller ever, like back in
yeah. You still
22 or
haven't.
whatever
Yeah,
that was. I have to
still
keep it.
says
Yeah,
T-shirt hooligan Kenny Payne won those games. We need to change that to something else, but for the sake
I
of it,
know.
it's still pretty funny. So
Yeah.
Louisville unfortunately falls to John Calipari. Their first loss of the season. Arkansas moves to 6-2. Last thing here, Alan, MVP. I know Louisville lost the game tonight, but if you're giving your game ball out on the Cardinal side of things, who are you giving it to?
That's for me, it's a no-brainer. And I really hate to do this because it's a cliche one, but I think it was pretty obviously Michael Brown Jr. for me.
Yeah.
I think he kept us in the game every time. Now, there were a couple shots at the end that I think were ill-advised. There were a couple of decisions, but he's 19, and you do that against a team that has one high NBA draft pick instead of like 3 or 4 or whatever they have over there at Arkansas. And you can pull this game out of your ass. Now, hopefully, we don't get down 19 to another team that's competing in the tournament or whatever, whether it be in the ACC, in the Duke game, in the Tennessee game. I hope it doesn't happen, but I think he's going to save us a few times. I saw a glimmer of, and mind you, like he started out so slow. I was like, oh fuck, it's the Kansas game. I think you and I might have even been texting like, oh shit, this is the Kansas game all over again. I think we were saying Cincinnati game. But that's what it felt like. And I'm like, he is shriveling up in front of our eyes. And he bounced back in a really big way. And I'm proud to have him on our team. And I'm like 10 toes for him and for the team. And I think tonight was just one of those things like overall, Cal just has our number. It's just one of these weird black magic mythical things that John Calipari has Louisville's number. And I'm just going to chalk it up to that. And I'm going to sleep like a baby. But my game ball it goes to Michael. Shout out to the young man.
I'm with you. For the sake of just trying to find somebody else, I think, maybe you could give it to Frew again. Yeah. I think Frew struggled with Trevon Brazile, struggled with, obviously, with Ewan and the physicality, but, has the points that he has, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 7 of 9 from the field. So maybe, but I'm with you. Sure. Brown really was the only reason Louisville was in this game in the second half. Last thing before we get out of here, I want to tell you all about a very cool event coming up. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we've got a new sponsor here on the Starting 502 podcast on State of Louisville Live to the State of Louisville, and that is Main Event. You may be familiar with them if you have kids. One of the coolest places to take your kids to. They got the bowling alley. They got They got arcade games. They've got laser tag. It's just literally
everything.
It's like the Fantasy Factory on steroids. But we are partnering with Main Event. Yeah. On a pep rally style community night coming up here in just a couple of days, Wednesday, December 10th. So a week from tonight, they are going to be hosting a pep rally and spirit night alongside of St. X basketball ahead of the Made Hoops Classic hosted by St. X, which will feature some dynamic high school basketball team, Spire Academy out of Ohio, Christ School in North Carolina. You'll have La Lumiere out of Indiana, one of the best prep schools in the country. You'll have some other schools here from Tennessee. You'll even have Davies County out of Kentucky. That event is going to be happening December 13th and 14th at St. X High School. But the pep rally to kick off that tournament will be December 10th from 5 to 9 at Main Event. And this will be a great opportunity to win some Louisville basketball tickets. They'll be doing giveaways on site, get to meet and hang out with the St. X basketball team. If you're interested in potentially a top 5 national recruit, top 10 national recruit, they've got that. Hopefully we'll be a Cardinal someday. Yep. If you'd like to go out there and tell him why that's the case, by all means. And then they'll also have a chance to win 2 VIP courtside tickets to the Main Event showcase hosted by Made Hoops Classic there. So big time event. We'll be sharing more of that on our social medias, but get out there, support Main Event. We'll be out there doing a live show ahead of the, I believe that'll be ahead of the Memphis game next Saturday. So stay tuned. Follow us on social at the State of Lou, on YouTube, at the State of Lou on Instagram. And then, of course, follow Main Event, follow St. X Basketball on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook for more information. You can buy tickets for that pep rally and for the tournament through the links that we'll share out. So some exciting stuff here going down on the State of Louisville. And hopefully for Louisville basketball, Alan, they turn things around. And we're talking about a completely different environment on Saturday against Indiana. Final thoughts here.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Closing thoughts from you. Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying we're good. We're good. I think tonight was a good test. Like I said, man, I mean, so much talent on Arkansas's roster. And they don't have to go extremely deep to do it. Like at the end of the day, like, you came back. I really thought this was going to end up being like, dude, I was dreading having to walk away from the TV if it got in the 20s and stayed in the 20s. And Louisville didn't do that. So I honestly was like, in my head, like Pat Kelsey's teams are not built to come back from big deficits. Like that's kind of like the theme I've been running with since last year. Honestly, I saw that in the Georgia Tech game of all games last year. I was like, I can't believe like we just couldn't crack couldn't get it within like 3 or 4 at the end, and this team cut it all the way to 5. Now that's no participation trophy. I'm trying to not trying to pin,
Right.
whatever, a rose on a donkey or whatever they call,
Right.
whatever they say. But this was I just I'm a little encouraged, and I'm not gonna not sit here and complain about officiating, which I thought was ass. I'm not gonna do that at length. I just think got beat by a better team with a better game plan, and I know how Pat Kelsey and his staff prepare for things, and I know they're gonna be ready to go for Indiana. I'm confident, and like I said, 10 toes for this team, 10 toes for the coaching staff. Just go out, practice and get better. Go to practice. Bobby Petrino, baby, get better.
Yeah. Yeah. And they'll have the couple of days to do it before they travel to Indianapolis on Saturday to play IU at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, where the Pacers play. Great arena if you've not been. I would highly encourage anybody that has never been to say to get tickets, but it looks like it's sold out. So next time they play there, be sure to get yourself up there because it's a pretty cool arena. We go there a couple times a year for Pacers games. So I am Jacob Lane. He is Alan Thomas. This is State of Louisville Live, courtesy of Surfside and main event of the State of Louisville Network. We will see you on Saturday. We think for pre and post, for sure post, but trying to figure out logistics and schedule with some folks headed up there, trying to be everywhere at one time. So stay tuned to the State of Louisville social media channels. Follow us at Jacob Lane 08. Your Twitter handle went away. I don't know where it went. It was underneath your name at one point, but it is now.
That's okay.
Disappeared.
That's okay. I'm okay not being found sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, in this case, at card in underscore L.
At the State of Lou.
Yeah, there you go. So we will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in here tonight after the game. We will see you next time. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, go Cards.
Go Cards.